hand pollinating okra and hand pollinating other plants as well, because you got to understand some plants have a male and a female flower, and some plants have just one flower with male and female parts. We're going to talk about this. Now, I simply had a dream that said hand pollinate your okra for a bigger harvest. It was a random dream. It didn't have any pictures. It was just a sound. It said hand pollinate your okra. And I said, you know what? That's a good idea, because, you know, I get a lot of okra, but I'm worried that it's going to start dropping, you know, as the bees go away, the season changes. So instead of relying on bees, we're going to hand pollinate this okra. Let's get into it. Now, as you can see, this okra is already pollinated. See, okra, hand pollinating it is very simple. You get a paintbrush, obviously a clean paintbrush. I am an artist, so this is used, but it's cleaned. Now, with hand pollinating okra, you got to be quick because the flowers go away very fast. Now, look, it's very simple. This flower has male and female parts, all right? It has this long tube part, which is called the style. And it has this black part in the middle, which is called the stigma. And you would take pollen. This has already been pollinated by a bee, so I really don't have to do this, but I'm just going to show you. Take the pollen from the style, which is the male part, and put the pollen on the stigma, which is the female part. Now, this would be easier to demonstrate with an unpollinated flower. Now, look at this. As you can see, our creator, Yahuwah, made the earth so perfectly that the style of this plant is rod shaped, you know, similar to that of a male penis, right? And the stigma is basically like a closed up vagina, all right? That's what it is. That's how it works, all right? So it's easy to understand this plant. So you would take pollen, from the style, and you will put it on the stigma, right? You will take the seed or the sperm from the penis, insert it on the plant's vagina. That's what it is, and that's how the okra gets made. So later that pollen will travel down the style through the pollen tube and go into the ovary of the plant, make an okra. So we're gonna do this again with some more, all right? This has not been pollinated. See, we don't have bees a lot where I live, so it's important to do this. See, bees do come on occasion, yeah, but there's not a whole bunch over here. So it's important to hand pollinate stuff and know how to hand pollinate stuff. Let's move on to the next flower. This has already kind of been pollinated, but we want to have an even better pollination, so we can ensure that we're going to get okra from here. This will indeed boost your harvest. You will get a lot of okra. Here's another one, guys. So much pollen on my paintbrush. Kind of hard doing this while holding the camera, obviously. And they will eventually grow into some good looking okra like this. Here's another flower. We want to do this to all of our flowers. I have 38 okra plants, and they are producing very, very good, but they can be better. I'm getting about 9 to 10 okras, sometimes 11 okras a day. But like I said, they could be better. It could produce, I could, with the amount of okra I have, I could produce, if everything goes good, 50 okras a day. Could you believe that? Could you believe that? But I could, if everything goes good with this garden. Get that little guy there. All right, so this is the after. The hand pollinating the okra was indeed a very good idea. It was a success because just overnight, I picked these okra starting this morning all the way until this evening, and overnight, the production more than doubled. I told you guys the most I would get a day was probably 11. The average amount I would get a day is probably 8 or 9, all right? But we're gonna count and see how many okras I picked today, in one day, all right? All these okras are indeed a little bit longer than my pointer finger, so they are all ready, but I'm going from the smallest to the biggest. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 okra picked in only one day. So hand pollination is clearly the best way to go, all right, for any crop. Corn, okra, eggplant, tomato, zucchini, watermelon, cucumber, any plant you're growing, you want to hand pollinate because you can't rely on the wind, you can't rely on the bugs as much as you can yourself. So just go out there, hand pollinate, get as much yield as you can. Make sure you're fertilizing your plants a lot, especially if you got potted plants. Pots run out of fertilizer quick. They run out of nutrients quick. You'll notice that your potted plant stays the same size. They get stagnant. All right, if you're in the ground still, get that fertilizer. Get that fertilizer to the stuff. Make sure your big fruits like your melons are getting lots of water. Your cucumbers are getting lots of water, lots of fertilizer, so they can taste nice and good. But yeah, man. I've had a lot of failures with this growing stuff, but I'm noticing increases already. And I give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahuwah, the creator of the heaven and the earth. All right. He said, once you keep his commandments, he will bless the increase of your field, right? He will bless the increase of your field. All right, homesteaders, now we're going to be talking about pollinating plants that do not have a one flower with male and female parts. We're going to be talking about plants that have a male and a female flower, different flowers, 2 flowers, male and female. So we're going to go on to our cucumbers here. And it's, you know, it's not just cucumbers. This is also watermelons, anything in the melon family, things like that. They're gonna have 2 flowers. One is gonna be male, one is gonna be female. So let's get into it. Now, if we look closely, we can see a bumblebee pollinating these flowers. Now, that's very good. There are bees in this garden, but there's not enough for what we're trying to do. We have to make sure that we can get as much produce as what we want. This is my trellis. In the future, these cucumbers will spread onto the top, and I will actually have fruit hanging down the middle. But these are relatively new. I planted them about a month ago or less. They grow so fast. We're going to talk about how to pollinate these guys. So we're going to identify the flowers. But make sure before you do anything that your paintbrush is cleaned off from a different plant. So this is okra, so we want to wipe that off. Get all the pollen off of that stuff. All of it gone. Make sure all the pollen is off, because you don't want to crossbreed a plant or have an insufficient type of pollen going into the stigma of anything. All the flowers that you're looking at here, these are all male flowers, all right? They hold the pollen. All the pollen, they hold it. So a male flower, you're going to look at the base of it, and you're going to see that it doesn't have any elongated object. It doesn't have any pollen tube. It doesn't have any, basically a vagina. It doesn't have an ovary. It just simply has this pollen sticking up right here. But let's find a female. Let's find a female flower. They're gonna be kind of hard to find. All right, in mine, there's not a lot of them. You would have to search. This is why pollination is so good. Look here. Here's a little critter pollinating, doing his little job. So basically, this right here is an example of a female flower. But however, I can't use this girl. I can't pollinate this girl because she's already closed up. This is gonna turn into a cucumber. But here's another one that I can use, right? This girl here. This girl here. This is a female flower. You can see the elongated part. This is the pollen tube, which goes into the ovary. Okay, and this is the vagina, the entrance of it. You can tell that it looks just like a vagina. Everything is created perfectly. So here's another one that's gonna turn into a cucumber. He's already been pollinated and turn into a cucumber very soon. Look what I'm doing. Put it on the paintbrush. Get it on the paintbrush, right? Take pollen from the male. Take pollen from the guy. Take the seed from the sperm from the male, right? And we're gonna place it in our female. We're just gonna insert it in her vagina, all right? If this is grossing you out, guys, the terminology I'm using, I'm very sorry, but I just want you guys to see how y'all created everything perfectly and connected. Even the plants have similar anatomy to us. Isn't that crazy? Everything was created simply just to reproduce. Isn't that beautiful? It's very beautiful. So, as you can see, this is the male. Take pollen from here, put it on a female, and you got a fact that you're gonna get a lot of cucumbers. This also works on melons. Oh, before I go, guys, I want you to see this cucumber, which is developing. She was pollinated, and now she's making fruit. Isn't that amazing? It's gonna fill in till it makes an entire cucumber. But with that being said, I'd like to say shalom to all my family. Keep on homesteading. Keep on growing.